Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's Friday. I'm Robbie, and with me, of course, for the Rockin Robbie show is Rex. What is up, my man?
What's up, brother?
Just chilling. Trying to get over the Lakers loss from last night. That's what I'm doing, but so far so good. I'm maintaining, so I'm safe, everybody.
LeBron looks every bit of 38, man.
He looks gassed, man.
He
really does.
He looks every bit of 38 right now, man. It's a lot different doing this at 38 than at 28.
Yeah, but you know what? Me or you at 38 couldn't have done it. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. But I think we're starting to see a shift.
Oh yeah,
in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
The old guard, even Steph Curry. I mean, you got to put him up there with the old guys. So it's going to be a new age, and new guys coming up, man.
Yep, absolutely. Flashing guns on IG and all that stuff. But so today we're talking. So Rex and Robbie, we haven't done this in a couple weeks due to certain things. However, here we are back again. And what we usually do here is we pick a topic and we discuss it, something new and relevant in pop culture, comics, or movies or whatever. This week, and I'm sorry for the spoilers, y'all, but I didn't spoil it. Marvel spoiled it. Okay, like this is out there. Everybody knows. So, in Amazing Spider-Man 26, which is coming out, I don't know if it's next week or the week after or something. It's been teased that somebody's going to die, right? That there's going to be a major death. And all of the speculation has been geared around the idea of Mary Jane being the death. It never quite felt right to me. And I guess, I don't know if allegedly it got leaked and then Marvel went ahead and confirmed it through Entertainment Weekly or Entertainment Tonight, whatever it was. And they leaked it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to build something. So here it is. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, she's dying in the next issue of Spider-Man. That's the big monumental death. We can debate whether or not death means anything in mainstream comics. And as Eric says, no, that's easy. Let's move on. But so let's unpack this. First of all, I've been reading Amazing Spider-Man, Zeb Wells, John Romita Jr. It's been a bit up and down for me, a little bit inconsistent. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, has been a character in there, but like very, very little. She's been like very underutilized in that book. She doesn't have her own book right now, right? She hasn't since the last miniseries wrapped up with her show. So the fact that they're going to kill her and act like it's a big deal. Yeah, Kamala Khan's a big deal to the Marvel Universe, but she hasn't been that big of a deal to the Spider-Man book. So that feels weird and out of place, right? It feels like if you're going to do a death of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, you want to do it in like Avengers book or a Champions book or a Captain Marvel book, something like that, or a Miss Marvel book, God forbid. So it feels weird that they're using Spider-Man to launch this. It also feels weird that they're launching the death of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, when she's literally about to be in a movie in November. And so none of us are fooled. We know what this means. This means that she's going to get resurrected. She's going to come right back. She's going to be more in line with the movie version, probably. Her powers will be a little bit different. She'll be a mutant instead of an inhuman. She might be resurrected through the resurrection protocols in the X-Men, right? So it just seems like, first of all, you make it a big deal when it's actually not a big deal to that title, it feels like. And then you're undercutting it because we know what's going to happen, right? I mean, we know what is going to happen. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, will be back. She'll have her own series. She's in a movie in November. And they keep doing this. They did this with Doctor Strange. The last Doctor Strange movie, right before, they kill him. Why? Well, they were trying to pump up Clea, right? So that's what they were trying to do there. But man, oh man, it just seems so silly to me. And I feel like they just completely undercut all the hype that was building up to Amazing Spider-Man 26. I think they just got rid of it. What do you think overall, Rex, about this whole scenario?
Well, I think that you kind of have to look at it from a different perspective. The age of a comic coming out of Marvel or even DC now that relates only to the universe of that comic and other potential titles it's attached to or touching no longer exists. Okay, because to them that area of the comics always touches on the area of the movies and the streaming series and so on and so forth, or whatever's going on. So they for at least for Marvel, Disney, DC, it's forever linked now. They're never going to move. They're, you know, and I guess from a business standpoint, it sort of makes sense, right? Because everyone that watches their movies may not read comics, but I would say it's a pretty fair certainty that the vast majority of those that read comics watches their movies, right? So what you do in the comics will have probably a more or less direct effect to how the movies or series, you know, evolves. So I think we've talked about it. We've all noticed it. The end game kind of Marvel throws something out and we're all rushing to watch it and we're all loving it. Those days are over. And over the last few years, we've been far more critical as they push out more stuff. I think Ant-Man Wasp is a perfect example. I did not even know it was streaming on Disney Plus. I still haven't watched it, but I did not even know it died an ugly death, and we saw that happen. And you know, that's become more of the norm, and it would be naive to think that either Marvel or DC hasn't noticed that. Yeah, you know, people are not jumping to the movie theaters and rushing to watch something, and they're not talking about it. There's no chatter, there's no buzz, and blah blah blah. And they've certainly gone through this with Star Wars. So it's not even like it's a new experience for them. So they know they got to do something. So they see the Kamala Khan character, the Miss Marvel. The series was relatively well received. She's become a popular character in the Marvel universe. So they see that this is a pivotal character, and we're at the beginning. So what do you do when you want to make waves in comics? You kill somebody, right? So it sort of makes sense from that perspective. Even something as surface, a kind of a surface effect of, all right, if we kill her in the comics, that will drive more people that read the comics to watch, okay, Marvels, because they're going to go into Miss Marvel withdrawal, and this is the only way you can fulfill that withdrawal. Okay, it could be as simple as that. Maybe there's something else they're promoting that we don't know about, that they haven't leaked. Okay, but on the surface, it seems that that's the easiest first off effect. Okay, and I think they're beginning to kind of embrace. I don't want to say embrace, but I think they realize that even when the fans are up in arms or they're displeased or they don't like a direction it's taking, guess what? We're talking about it, though, aren't we? So to me, do I agree that Marvel leaked it? Absolutely. Okay. It was a planned, scheduled leak. For what reason? To cause buzz. To talk about it. Why? Because it may drive more foot traffic or eyes to Marvels. So in a sense, it all kind of makes a business sense. Now, what do I think? Does it matter? Well, I think that when they killed off Superman, they demonstrated exactly that was, you know, you're never going to be able to kill off another comic character and have it stick. Okay. In the back of our mind, you know, any of us that lived through it, you killed off Superman and then you brought him back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Character's dead. Okay. I don't think we're ever going to really fall for it like that again. Okay. That was big time, dude. You had your local news stations in the morning at 6 o'clock and 11 reporting, the death of Superman. They're going to kill Superman. I mean,
dude, I remember that so much because like we didn't have the internet back then. You know, there wasn't like all this stuff spoiling, and like if that would happen today, like it does, like with this Miss Marvel thing, we all know about it. We all know something's coming. Man, right. I remember like it was a shock. Like you're right.
It was in newspapers. It was everywhere.
Yeah, it was everywhere, dude. Like it was on the news. It was on the radio. That's all anybody talked about. I went to the shop. They didn't have any. They were already out. You know what I'm saying? I had to get a fourth printing.
Marcus. So I mean, so in a sense, we knew. We all kind of know that all right, you're killing off a character. Okay, this is the world of comic books. What's to stop you from bringing them back? Nothing, as was demonstrated by DC. Okay, they killed off Superman. They broke Batman's back, and guess what? Oh, shockingly, they're back. All right, so I don't think we're ever going to fall for that again. But it does create buzz. How do we know it's creating buzz? On TV, on the internet. We're talking about it. So it does great buzz. So in a sense, I think it's a big nothing sandwich at the end of the day. It's just a marketing tool. But is there anything that they do with characters that in the world of comic books that isn't a marketing tool? You know, even at Dynamite, we try to, you know, obviously try to get big, you know, big name cover artists, try to get writers, write a good story. But all that's marketing too, isn't it? We're writing a good story because we want the Dynamite readers to read it and continue reading it. If we know that if we put out a bad story, more than likely, you know, the fans out there are going to be like, yeah, okay, I'm not buying the next issue, right? So it's the same thing that Marvel and DC are doing, except that obviously the independents like the Dynamite, you know, and the other ones out there, you know, we don't have that kind of market or that size of IP, you know. So we're doing what we can do within our, you know, within our realm. And so is Marvel. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally a marketing thing, right? Because they proved with the death of Superman that they could, like, that sold 3 million copies, right? Like, that was a big deal. And DC was not competing at that time very well with Marvel, right? Where Marvel was Spider-Man #1, X-Force #1, X-Men #1, and DC's just like, well, let's kill them. But the death of Superman was actually a well thought out story, and it all led to a point. And then the most important part of the death of Superman to me is what happened after, where like they killed Superman. Then there's no Superman books for like, I think like 2 or 3 months. There was nothing, right? And then they did the 500 or something like that, and they launched the whole reign of the Superman and the return and all that stuff. And being a kid back then, like, you know, 12, 13 years old, I ate all of that up. I loved it. But what's happened is then they realized, oh man, we were successful. Let's do it with Batman. Well, let's not kill him. Let's break his back, like you were mentioning. And this is something they continue to do. I remember several years ago, this is during the Hickman run of Fantastic Four. And during that era where they killed Johnny Storm for a while. But of course, they brought him back as well. And I remember an editor was talking about, oh, it's simple. We plan a death every quarter because it sells comics. Does it anymore? It's going to be interesting to see because, first of all, there's already a lot of orders placed. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 26 already has all their orders in. You know what I'm saying? That book's about to drop. And it was the hype of a big death in the issue that built it up. How is sell-through going to be now? Will people care? Are we so out of it? Because what happened with Marvel at that time, what I saw at my shop, was that people got really tired of it. Like after like basically every 3 to 4 months, you're killing off a character, and then you just bring them back. And it's just this constant cycle, right? Now, there have been deaths in Marvel and DC that have lasted, that have lingered. Captain Marvel, that's a big lingering death. But as somebody said in the chat, they've even brought Buffy back. They brought Jason Todd back, much to my dismay, but I've come around on that. Uncle Ben, Bruce Wayne's parents, these are the only people that stay dead, I guess, you know? So I'm just very curious as to...
So far.
So far. I like what you said where you're like, this is something to build up hype surrounding the character, her appearance in the upcoming movie, this and that. Right. So that's an interesting way, but I feel like it's not going to work out quite the way they want, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, right?
Well, you see, the problem is you got to be able to determine what their goal is in doing this. You see my point?
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking the goal is to sell more comics. I'm not necessarily sure that that's true. All right. I believe to a certain extent, killing her off in the comics is just a vehicle. Because here's the thing. Even if you say you don't read comics, but you go and watch the movies and you watch the streaming series, right? And you say you're going to kill her off in ASM, okay? And we're going to kill the character off. And now we're talking about it. And it's not just, you know, the Rockin Robbie show or Bleeding Cool or anything like that. They're talking about it on Entertainment Tonight or whatever the case may be, you know, mainstream entertainment shows. So people who watch that may not be comic book readers, but they may have been a big fan of the Miss Marvel series. They're looking forward to Marvels, and they hear, oh my gosh, they're killing off Kamala Khan. Okay. Now, will that person go out and buy that issue? No. But it may affect when or how many times they watch Marvels. It may make them go back and restream and binge Miss Marvel. Okay. So I think that there are layers and layers of what they're doing. And I think that both Marvel and DC have taken their IPs and moved beyond, like the indies. To us, it's still very basic, still very old school, the vast majority of it. Okay. How many issues do we sell? Okay. But with Marvel and DC, they're way beyond that. Their IP is extended way beyond that now. Okay. It's how many people watch the series? How many people watch the movie? How many comic books do we sell? How many people like the ride in Disney or Universal, as the case may be? All right, because Disney west of the Mississippi and in foreign countries, I heard Universal has now lost a big chunk of their Marvel licenses. Now, east of the Mississippi, what we're talking about is the Orlando, Florida area. They have it in perpetuity. So they have it more or less forever, as the case may be. But in other parts of the world, okay, you're going to start seeing more Marvel-centric characters. Maybe in Disneyland, Tokyo, Spider-Man will be jumping around in costume. Who knows, right? Because that IP has changed. So they're looking at it from that standpoint as well, okay? Because we're killing off the character, whatever. Now we've got all these other parts. So their IP is so intertwined with the rest of their business that you can't straight up say, well, that their goal is to sell more issues. That may not be it. So what you're saying may not really be relevant to them. They go, all right, so it doesn't, so we lose some buyers, some readers along the way. Oh well, okay. But we've increased our box office receipts by this much. Foot traffic at the parks have gone up this much. Based on what we've said. So I don't think it's a straight line as that. And Death of Superman was straight line. We need to sell issues. We need to sell copies. All right. And then after we kill them, let's milk it a little bit more with this extended storyline, which, Josh, I know you said that those stories became classic, and they did, but after how much time? Okay. And I'm not saying it wasn't well written and the art wasn't good. It was, the Jerry Ordways, the Dan Jurgens, all that stuff. It was great. Okay, Batman, or what was it, Kelly Jones and a bunch of others. Okay, it was great. And they wrote and it gave them a lot of storyline to write about on the back end, and they reintroduced and brought them to life. So I think it was really the first time that marketing tool, if you will, was used, and it was done well, and it literally saved DC's butt. It put them in the news, it put them in front of people, it took classic characters and revamped them, gave them that opportunity, gave them a ton of storyline material to keep writing on and expanding on, creating, quote unquote, a new universe, so to speak. So then, of course, like I guess all companies do, they take a good thing and they beat it to death, right? So as you say, every couple of months, somebody was dying, every couple of months. So like, dude, and then, basic law of economics, you hit the law of diminishing returns, right? So all of a sudden, the more effort you put in, the less you're getting back. So it was, you killed everybody every 2 months, and guess what? Now you're starting to see the sales begin to slide, because there are people are like, my God, you killed somebody else this week? Are you kidding me? I'm done with it. I don't care. Okay, all right. So eventually it kind of got stale, and they had to move in a different direction. They did. But the one thing that's true is that it does create an impact. Now, I think what Marvel's trying to do is trying to extend that impact beyond the comic books. They're trying to reach into it. I really believe it is all tied into how it's going to help the Marvels, maybe create more interest in the Kamala Khan character. Okay. All right. There's another potential benefit. Okay. Those that maybe didn't watch Miss Marvel first time around said, Miss Marvel, I remember that character. Wow, they're killing her. Ooh, let me go back and binge that series and see what the heck's going on with this.
Yeah.
It puts it in the forefront of everybody's mind. If that's what they're after, I think they may be very successful with it.
Well, and one thing that they may be after, Rex, is this, like, is the engagement online, the social media stuff, like people talking about it, trending. Kamala Khan's trending this week on Twitter, you know, and that makes a lot of sense. And it's just, how do you? Okay, so if the idea is that it somehow boosts interest in the character to the audience outside of the comics, because then it's trending, people go on their Twitter. Marvel movie fans, they go on their sites or whatever, they see all this stuff. How do you think that's, do you think it's just bringing an awareness, trying to bring out the awareness of this character so people place more significance on the Marvels because of the way that the MCU's kind of been trending and the way the Marvels interest in that seems to be trending down? Because Captain Marvel's kind of one of those polarizing Marvel movies, you know, I love it, and I'm really excited for this new one. So do you think that that's what they're going after?
Oh, I blanked out for a second. Was that you or me?
Oh, I don't know. Did I blank out? I was asking you.
I was spinning, so I don't know. But anyway, all right. So, but I'm back. All right. So I think so. I think that that's one of the intentions, just to get it out there. I think that it is a character that they feel like has gained some traction. So they kind of want to focus on that. All right. I mean, let's call it what it is. I think that the Ant-Man Wasp thing is over. Okay. It didn't gain any traction. People did not really like it. But, yeah, William Medina, good point. But I think that they see a little traction with this character, and they want to solidify it. And I think that this helps do it. It creates buzz around the character. If you've never heard of Miss Marvel, you probably will this week, right? Because Marvel's killing them off. So that's going to bring eyes. Okay. And even controversy, even debates and saying Marvel's doing the wrong thing, even that brings eyes. Okay. Because you're not blaming Miss Marvel, you're blaming Marvel.
Yeah.
So that works, okay? So I think that it's a calculated move. I think that ultimately it will work because what are you going to lose? See, there's very little you're going to lose. Marvel's is already in the can, obviously, right? So now it's just a matter of promoting it. And this is a great way to do it at, I got to admit, a very low cost. Because just announcing or leaking that you're killing off the character, it's going to generate its own buzz. It's already doing that, right? And it's costing them what? Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, a few panels in an issue of ASM. That's what it's costing them.
Yeah. As far as, I get exactly what you're saying. And I think that you're right on the money, and they're getting right now what they wanted, which is people talking about it, which is people, I mean, they're gonna push some of these books. It's Amazing Spider-Man. It's their number one selling book. It's their flagship title, right? It's not like they're trying to do this to boost their number one selling title. You know what I'm saying? Like that book sells regardless. It's like Spider-Man, Batman, they're going to sell. Story-wise, though, like as a reader, right, there hasn't been much build up to it, as I see somebody just said. And what I loved about things like the death of Superman, and in particular also the death of Captain America that Ed Brubaker did, was that what comes after had an impact. It had a meaning. When Captain America died at the end of Civil War, and then you had to deal with like Bucky kind of dealing with that, Falcon dealing with that, Sharon dealing with that, the Marvel Universe dealing with that. From the loss of Captain America, you were able to understand the importance and significance of that character in the Marvel Universe, right? And it led to this really cool stuff where Bucky became Cap, and that was a really great run. So deaths, even though they come across as being like a cheap cash grab or a cheap attention grab or something like that, they can be done effectively. I don't think that's going to be the case here, but I don't know. If they handle this death of Kamala with weight and nuance and actually use this to explore more of the significance of the character before, of course, bringing her back and having a new number one, probably just in time for that movie. I mean, we're not silly. We've been doing this for a long time. We know what's going on. I don't know. I hope that that's what they're doing, but it just seems like they're just trying to grab some attention. to me, Rex. That's what I'm thinking.
See, again, I think that, all right, so you brought up the example of Captain America, right? You know, that I felt like was an event that was specifically kind of designed for the comic book reader. Okay. And it is obviously a long time character. And they did it in a sense to affect the reader, because it wasn't big news. Obviously, it didn't make news like Miss Marvel did, right? It was something specific to the comic book reader, because Endgame, for the larger audience, Endgame was how they resolved the Captain America issue, right? All right, he went back, he got old, and he got to spend his life with the woman of his dreams. All right, and then eventually pass the shield on. So to the general public, that was a resolution of Captain America, and they didn't need to kill him to create that interest, obviously, right? So that particular death, I felt like, was more or less done for the comic book reader specifically, and probably why it was dealt with in such a careful way and written with the mind of the comic book reader. You know, like any kind of art or literature, looking for, I need substance in your story. I believe this death of Miss Marvel is completely a different move. Okay, they are not appealing to the comic book reader. They are taking the character and trying to elevate the character's presence or notoriety, whatever you want to call it. And I think that the goal is, again, not necessarily to appeal to the comic book reader, but to drive traffic and interest in the character herself, because she's gained some traction. We all know there's probably going to be another series somewhere down the road, okay? And then, of course, driving traffic to the Marvel's project, right? And then, depending on how everyone reacts, they'll make plans later on, right? Look, the one thing I can tell you is that if all of a sudden we see the popularity of Captain America faltering, they're going to bring whoever they got to bring back, okay? All right? And do whatever they got to do to revamp interest, because the two most effective things in that arena is killing them and then bringing them back, okay? When people get tired of it, all right? Like, oh, this ain't Cap, I'm tired of it. Okay, time to bring him back, okay? And he magically is transported through time, okay, got stuck in a meat locker, who knows, okay, and it got frozen again, well, whatever, okay, they'll find some creative way. But so I think that the problem is that Miss Marvel had a different, by releasing the info, they had a different intent, okay, but they were smart enough to say, hey, when you kill somebody, a character, people pay attention, all right, now let's just alter it a little bit so the benefit goes to our movies, streaming, or whatever, not just the comic book character itself. All right, we've seen Marvel do it before, right? Well, the Miss Marvel limited series came out surprisingly around, at the same time as the series. Coincidence?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's cynical, it's business. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And regardless of everything that's happening, Marvel and Disney has done a really good job in trying to protect and grow their IP. Did they hit a threshold of saturation after Endgame? Yeah, they did. Okay, was it always going to be like that? I don't think there's anybody sitting in Burbank, California, saying, "Man, I can't believe everything kind of went downhill after Endgame. I thought this was just going to last forever." Come on. That would be the dumbest executive we've ever met. Nothing lasts forever. So they realize that okay, we've hit that saturation point. Decisions have been made to pull back release dates. Okay, spread them out. Okay, and something like this doesn't really surprise me at all.
Okay. Word. What does death mean in comics? It means a lot of different things. It means selling comics. It also means spreading influence, raising a character's notoriety or whatever, or just trying to build up conversation. And that's what's going on right now. So that's what it is.
I mean, they're looking for, clearly they're looking for something new. And if Flash turns out to be even 50% of what we anticipate at this point, okay, because the trailers have been dope and they've seemed to just kind of, I don't know, it seems like every time I see Ezra Miller in any of it, it's very kind of, an action sequence. He doesn't have a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot. It's just, suddenness. The most dialogue we've gotten is from Keaton. And with that fabulous line, "You want to get nuts." Okay. Let's get nuts. I love that line. So they know that DC is now not the disorganized hot mess that it was, that somebody they've worked with, okay, James Gunn, has a vision, okay, clearly, and has done this before, and they'd be naive to not see that as a potential threat. So they know they've got to, they've been lucky after Endgame in that, obviously DC was not producing anything that anybody really wanted to watch. They could kind of ride out that wave, just, put out stuff like Eternals and okay, well, people are bashing it, calling it, a failure. But guess what? We still make a heck of a lot of money here. Just saying. Okay. You know what I mean? So that, of course, is part of it as well. So I think that they are recognizing that there's some sort of dynamic shift here.
Yeah.
And they have to be ready for it. And they can't continue to do what they've been doing and hope everything turns out well, because, there's just no other choice. Right? If I like Progresso soup instead of Campbell soup, but my supermarket only carries Campbell soup, what am I going to do? If I want to drink soup, I got to drink Campbell soup, right?
Or find another grocery store.
Well, let's say all the grocery stores in my area only carry Campbell soup. Okay, which is now
a different area, because Progressive soup's the best soup outside of chocolate. So
both soups made in New Jersey, I believe. But anyway, I digress.
Soup capital of the world.
Campbell soup is definitely out of New Jersey, out of South Jersey, as a matter of fact. I believe Progresso is as well. But there you go. Start eating salad. Good one, Josh. I like that. So let's say that the supermarket you go to only has Caesar salad, okay? But the analogy being, of course, that, we really didn't have a whole lot of choices. Even DC's best foot forward wasn't so great, all right? Yeah. And then they shot themselves with the flip-flopping and the Zack Snyder version and, and remaking Suicide Squad and just, all this nonsense that went on. But now it looks like I would be kind of afraid. Okay, it's kind of like, if the Yankees got, I give you one you can appreciate. If the Yankees somehow ended up with Ohtani, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
I'm in AL East. I'm getting nervous, man. I think we're gonna need to bone up a little bit on our bullpen here, okay. And I think that's how Marvel feels right now. It'd be stupid not to. All of a sudden it looks like they've got somebody at the helm who has an idea what the hell they're doing, has a name to push it, okay, has a big enough name that you might just watch it because it's James Gunn. And that's got to make them nervous. And I don't blame them. All of a sudden they have their own Kevin Feige. I mean,
yeah.
All right. I got to sort of address this, Robbie. Look, guys. I got to be honest with you. If you're looking to talk politics, there are plenty of shows and websites and social media where you can talk about it. Okay. The most disagreement we have on this show is Robbie unknowingly, or I've never been able to figure out, it's the Dallas Cowboys and Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. Which just makes him not so smart, but that's just my opinion. That's about as controversial as we're going to get. I respect everybody's political opinion, but you know what? Don't express it here. This is not what we're here for. We're not here to get into a talk about government or anything else. We are here to talk about what Marvel's doing, killing off Miss Marvel, waiting for the next Ezra Miller antic. The football season will get kind of hot and heated because some moron put up power rankings and somehow Dallas is in the top 10 again.
It's because it's America's team, right?
Okay, Jerry Jones's brother must be writing that, or Robbie.
I wrote the list.
And as soon as football season starts, it will be hot and heated between me and Robbie. But other than that, thank you, Josh. Went peace, love, and comics. All right, there really is. That's what we're here for. I believe that most everybody tunes in because if I want to read about politics, all I got to do is get on my phone and look on the internet, man. All right. But we like that. Marcus, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I like you so much, man. Don't do it, bro. Step away. Step away from the Cowboys. OUG, giving you a virtual hug. You're a Bears fan. You need one.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, the death of Miss Marvel. The biggest question will be, is it good? Will it be good? I don't know. I'm going to read it. I'm going to let you know. So follow the weekly comic book review if you don't, and I'll let you know if it's actually good or if it just kind of falls flat, right? Like the actual.
I don't think the comic book readers are going to react to that. You know, I mean, long-time readers especially. Anybody that was alive during Death of Superman, super especially, okay? Because we are so jaded by that now. Like, they kill somebody, yeah, they'll bring them back next week. Don't worry about it, okay? Yeah. I mean, it never sticks, okay? And Uncle Ben or who else? Or Bruce Wayne's parents never coming back. Why? Because who would care? Honestly, who would care? That's why they haven't brought him back. Okay.
Well, they did. I remember they tried to bring back Spider-Man's parents in the 90s. It turned out they were like clones or something like that with implanted memories and lots of weird stuff that they've done. So they've attempted to bring
some interesting experiment though, because those were his parents, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you know, that was an two unknown characters. So that was
right, because Uncle Ben was the motivating death, right? Not his parents.
Yeah.
That was
right. And Aunt May was, you know, part of his life, and not only in the canon of the comic books, but all of the movies as well. So I think that was an interesting dive, because all of a sudden you're introducing two characters that we know about, that we know existed, but you've never touched on. So I thought that was kind of interesting doing that, you know. Yeah. That had purpose. You know, it was expanding on people that we knew existed, but we never heard anything about. So why not? And how do you get out of it? They're clones. That was kind of, you know, that's kind of, wow, convenient.
Well,
look at the time, let's wrap it up kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, they're clones. Psych, bye-bye.
That was Spider-Man in the 90s. They were like, what do we do? Clone. It's a clone. All right, so the death of Miss Marvel, what do you think about it? What do you think about the League? Do you think what do you think Marvel's trying to do? What do you think they're trying to get out of this? Let us know in the comments. We appreciate everybody joining us today. What about you, Rex? What's coming up, man?
All right, so I want to point out, Marcus, you're right. Thomas Wayne exists as Batman. That's true. So they did bring him back, sort of.
That's from another reality, right? So at least there's that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's, you know, again, it's comic books. They can bring anybody back and kill anybody. Yeah, they could kill him and bring him back in the same day. Okay, you could have one artist drawing the death and another artist drawing his resurrection. I mean, come on, right? And 62 left, right? And they're gonna call it a number one again.
Yep, we know that. That's coming.
All right. I mean, when I'm looking books up and stuff for work, you know, you can no longer just type in X-Men #1, because then you get a bazillion titles come up, right? Yeah. That should be a topic too. We should have one day, but. Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Experience. Tune in for Nick's original art show. Even if you're not a buyer of original art, some great stuff. See how it's created. Of course, Robbie and I will be back Monday. Hopefully, John will be here for our regular show on Monday nights at 6 p.m. on The Experience. So we've got all that coming up. And, of course, Wednesdays with our buddy Alec as well, also on The Experience. And then what do you got coming up on Monday night for your movie review?
Well, we're in Crew's choice, and this week will be Brooks's choice, and he's picked a Sergio Leone classic, Once Upon a Time in the West, which is a long movie, but it's a good movie, and it's got a great soundtrack, great performances. So I'm really excited for that. And tonight, over at Dylan's Horror Show, they'll be talking about The Faculty, which is a really awesome movie. So check out Dylan's Horror Show tonight.
Oh my gosh. I forgot the number of stars in that movie.
Oh man, not right? Like Usher, Josh Hartnett, and like so many people in that movie. It's a cool movie, so they're gonna have a great discussion. But Once Upon a Time in the West, very excited for that. Are you familiar with that one?
Once Upon a Time in the West was, I feel like, is this the original one with, what was it, Henry Fonda?
Yes, Henry Fonda, Charles Bronson.
Yes, I love that one.
He's the harmonica dude, right?
Yeah. That was a great one. I'm a big fan of Westerns. I grew up on spaghetti Westerns. So that's awesome. Yeah. Hey, Kenneth, what's up, buddy? So I love those old Westerns. One of the best books I ever read was Centennial. They had made a miniseries on that, but it was a great. It was by Mishner, James Mishner. Yeah, that was a great novel. He's a great writer. He tells a story of a particular place, and that was the frontier Midwest United States. But he told it through the eyes of specific people, and he did that with a number of books.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenal reads if you ever get a chance to do that.
Awesome. All right, Rex, thank you for being here. Everybody check out Nick's show tonight over at The Experience. Check out our show Monday night over at The Experience, and check out all of the stuff that we do. We really do appreciate y'all. Let us know in the comments below. What do you think about anything we just said tonight, or anything that you think that we said wrong or whatever? We appreciate